Hey everyone, this is Ryan and this is Brian. This past weekend, Brian tackled a pretty big and large issue, or not issue, but some different topics. He talked about regeneration, he talked about conversion, free will, and election. And under all that is just really salvation. What does that mean? So one of the questions that we got this past week was, why is it important to study our beliefs about salvation? And so we want you guys to also participate in this. So we each kind of have an answer to this, and we're going to talk about it. But we want you guys to come back and offer your input. Like, why do you think it's important not to just know that Jesus, that we're saved by Jesus, that we need to believe upon Jesus to be saved, but why is it important to go even further and to dive deeper into this topic? So we want your guys' input. And Brian, kick it off.
Sure. And so I don't know if my answer is simply about why we should study more about sin and salvation, more just why we should study more. You are constantly being formed. You are constantly being shaped. And the things that you believe about God or the things you believe about anything really shape and form how you see the world. It gives you a particular lens that you're looking through. And I would say that when we let other things shape our view of God or shape our view of salvation, we really are at work making God in our own image. And that's just not something that we want to do. And so the more we lean into God's word, the more we study topics like salvation and understand better who God is and what he did, the more we're going to trust in God for who he is and for what he did, and let that be the most shaping and defining thing about us, not what the world or someone else tells us about God.
Yep. And honestly, there's a lot of implications to salvation. The more we dive into it, the more we realize there's just a lot behind it, which is really cool because God is not someone that we're going to totally understand in the fullest, but there's just treasures and riches to continue to learn from. So my mind kind of went this direction of why should we continue to study or look deeper into salvation? Mm-hmm. Well, one, there's a lot of times it's just our nature that we want to somehow work our way to God, or we want to have some sort of stock in our salvation. And Ephesians 2:8-9 tells us that that really isn't the case, that the only way to have salvation is to have faith in Jesus. It's not a part of our own works, it's not our own doing, but it's our faith upon him. And so there's a lot of this legalism that stirs up in our hearts that somehow I need to work my way to God and my works will merit what God has given me. Well, in return, that knowing that God, that I can't earn my way to God, that it's simply a gift, that it's nothing that I deserve, really gives me confidence in the life that I have today to live for him, meaning that like I don't have to let my failures be what define me or my sin, but it's really I can continue to turn to God because he's always faithful. It's a free gift that I never deserved in the first place. And so there's joy and confidence that I can have in my salvation when we study that further and we realize from the beginning it's been a gift of faith to us. So there's a lot of riches there. Guys, we'd love to hear what you have to say on this. Like why should we take a deeper dive into salvation beyond just knowing that, hey, Jesus saves me, I need to trust in him. What is something that you guys would want or you think is important about studying salvation?